Hey, it's Kevin back with another blog update. Today, kind of, well, revisiting an old friend, throwing some props out to an old friend. Perhaps, well, a television show you may have missed back in the day. Back in 1998 and 1999, my wife and I don't want to say fell in love with, but I fell in love with a television show called Sports Night. Aaron Sorkin, the guy who gave you The West Wing, was the head writer, head creative guy, producer, whatever you call it, for Sports Night. It was one of those shows that and I heard this somewhere, one of those it was too good for television kind of things. 2 seasons, 45 episodes, that's all they wrote. It was one of those, when it got canceled, it never really found its audience on ABC. When it got canceled, a bunch of networks like Showtime, HBO, wanted to pick it up and run with it. Sorkin decided to walk away and go focus more time and effort on The West Wing. Well, we were big fans. We watched it throughout its course before there was TiVo, so we had to make appointments and missed a couple episodes here and there. But a few years back, I bought the DVD box set for Sports Night. Well, a couple weeks ago when I went back to the Ohio office, I went through the DVD closet and kind of grabbed some DVDs because I spend a lot of time with the TV on here in the office, just kind of noise in the background, just to break up the monotony of the radio, of satellite, just for something different. And I grabbed my Sports Night box set because it was like, I like watching television shows in box set form. No commercials, number one. Number two, though, especially with a Sports Night show where there's kind of a theme that kind of, well, it's not episodic, there is some episodic nature to it. You get a better view of it. Well, I'll be honest with you. Plugged it in the DVD player the other night, and almost for 2 straight days, whenever I was near a TV and staying up way too late, it's what I watched. All 45 episodes, almost literally back to back to back. Wow. What a not only a powerful show, it was one of those, well, it was supposedly going to be a comedy, then had a little bit more dramatic appeal to it, and while I'm sure it wasn't the first dramedy, it was one of the earlier dramatic comedy shows. First season, there was more comedic nature. By the second season, it got a little heavier in tone. Great acting from people like Robert Guillaume. Of course, you know him from Soap and from Benson. Who, I'll be honest with you, I didn't like Robert Guillaume from Benson, but fell in love with his character, Isaac Jaffe. Playing the managing editor of this show, basically the theme behind Sports Night. It's kind of like a takeoff on ESPN, where the 2 main anchors, played by Josh Charles and Peter Krause, run the 11 o'clock Sports Center type show, Sports Night, on the mythical CSC network. Now, what's funny is I think because a lot of people who helped write the show were involved in the television process, I don't want to say they borrowed from ESPN, but they borrowed a lot from ESPN. The 2 main anchor characters of Dan Rydell and Casey McCall were based on Craig Kilborn, were based on Dan Patrick, Keith Olbermann, some of the early Sports Center anchors, as well as then the network that they were talking about, this Continental Sports Corporation or Continental Network or whatever it was kind of portrayed as a Rupert Murdoch Fox type Fox Sports Network. So they kind of took the top 2 sports networks and actually talked about ESPN and Fox Sports all the time. So it made for an interesting watch. Maybe because I'm in the media, maybe because I grew up in the media. It means a little bit more to me. But it was very fascinating not only to see how television personalities act, but to me some of the backstories, some of the behind-the-scenes story were most fascinating. I mean, Josh Charles and Peter Krause did a great job. I talked about Robert Guillaume. Felicity Huffman, of course, who's now more famous for Desperate Housewives, played Dana Whitaker, one of the main characters in the show. But to me, I think the 2 best characters in the entire show were Jeremy and Natalie, played by Joshua Malina and Sabrina Lloyd. They played associate producers, nerdy, mousy, kind of quiet people, but really, I mean, just some incredible acting. I'm a huge fan. I can't recommend enough Sports Night. Now, the package I've got here is the original DVD. It went away for a while. They brought it back last year in a 10th anniversary package for 2008, so you won't see the yellow box necessarily that looks like this, but definitely go by your favorite store, whether it's a Best Buy, whether it's a Walmart, whether you buy it at Amazon or whatever. Man, well worth the price for Sports Night. Too good for television? I don't know about that. Definitely good enough to be watched over and over and over again in my DVD player. Back tomorrow. Another blog. See